Hello, are you here to debate?
Yeah, man.
All right. What's your name, age, and pronouns?
My name's James. I'm 24, and I'm a guy.
So, do you use he, him pronouns?
I suppose you could say that.
You suppose I could say that? Do people, when they refer to you, say he or him or his?
Well, yeah, I'm a
Okay.
guy.
So then you do use he, him pronouns. Great. Beautiful. What do you disagree with on the board?
Um, I don't, I don't agree with trans women are women,
Okay. Why not?
because I just think that that's kind of not exactly accurate. They can be trans women, but they can't be women.
Well, trans would be an adjective that's used on the noun woman. So if you're saying they are trans women, that means they would be women because the noun there is still woman. Trans is just the adjective to describe the type of woman that they are.
Yeah, but I don't think that they're women in general. They're their original sex.
Sure, I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about gender.
Well, gender and sex are the same thing.
Incorrect.
How so?
Well, one, they have two different definitions. So if they were the same thing, they would have the same definition, right?
Sorry, can you say that again? I got interrupted.
Well, they have two different definitions. So I would assume if they're the same thing, they would have the same definition because they mean the same thing, but they don't. Gender would be a category distinction that's focused on like social and cultural differences, whereas sex would be a category distinction that's focused on biological differences.
So what's the definition of gender?
Well, the definition of gender is typically, the one that's in like Oxford and Merriam is something along the lines of either of the two sexes when distinguished by cultural or social differences rather than biological ones.
It's an odd way to describe gender, considering it's.
Well, that's the do you want me to read you the like exact definition of gender?
Sure, go ahead.
The male sex or the female sex, especially when considered with reference to social and cultural differences rather than biological ones. Or
It,
one of a range of
but
other
it did
identities that do
specifically
not
mention the
correspond to
sexes.
established ideas of male or female. That's the Oxford language definition of gender.
But inside of that definition, it described the two, female sex and male sex.
Yes, it
It
says
didn't
when
mention
considered with
others.
reference to social and cultural differences of the sexes, not biological ones. And then it has a comma and it says, or one of a range of other identities that do not correspond to established ideas of male and female.
Does that have a date for that definition?
What would the date matter?
Uh, it would matter considering that, definitions can be changed, right?
Yes, but that's because definitions are descriptive by nature, so they would have to change.
But why would it change?
Because our understanding of what gender is has evolved. So too should the definition of gender evolve. Oxford Language Dictionary changed it because they recognized that people
the
were using the
dictionary
word
itself
differently.
Can't change it. The dictionary can't change itself. Somebody has to change the dictionary.
Yes, the Oxford Language Dictionary is changed by the company that produces it. So Oxford Languages would change the Oxford Language Dictionary.
And so the people that are behind changing the definitions, you wouldn't say kind of put one side on a pedestal while ignoring the other?
How do you think definitions work?
Well, I think we as a collective society decide how they work, and that somebody deciding that something is one thing when everybody else says something's another thing, that kind
Do
of
you
goes
think
against
dictionaries update themselves because they like are petitioned to by like
dictionaries
some
don't update
group of people?
themselves. People update dictionaries.
When I say dictionaries update themselves, what I'm saying is the people that write the Oxford Languages Dictionary updating the dictionary.
Yeah, but you put certain people in charge of updating said dictionary, and those people would favor one side rather than the other based on their
What is
own
the
personal beliefs.
end goal of we'll say the left updating the dictionary to be more inclusive? What's their end goal here? What's the
Well,
purpose?
I think it's kind of a deeper thing than really just like a surface level conversation of it, because it's involves people that you kind of don't know, right? So it's their own, based on their own morals or lack thereof.
It involves people that I don't know and their lack.
Well, yeah,
That was a
you'd have to
complete
have a whole
non-answer.
room of people that are involved, so you can sit down and
Do
talk
you
to them
know
and
that room of
understand
people?
them. No, I don't. That's what I was
Did you
asking
sit
you.
down and talk to them?
No, that's why I'm saying
Okay,
that we would need
so
to. That's why I hadn't given an answer on it.
then, but you're saying that they updated it for nefarious reasons,
It's possible, isn't it?
but you don't have evidence of this.
Well, you don't have evidence of otherwise.
Okay. Do you think that vampires run the United States?
Well, vampires don't exist.
Do you have evidence that vampires don't exist?
Do you have evidence that they do?
Well, I don't need evidence that they are doing something. It's possible, right? Unless you can provide me
I guess
evidence that
so.
they're not running the country. Do you have evidence of that?
You're not wrong.
Do you see how your argument of it doesn't work unless you can unprove it doesn't really fit in with how arguments and like logic works?
Well, my argument wasn't that you can unprove it. I was just
Yes,
saying
it
that
was,
you
because when
can
I
either
asked you,
prove or disprove it.
well, yes, but it's not about, I don't have to disprove anything. If you're making a claim, you must prove that claim with evidence. I don't have to disprove your claim because you can't provide proof for the claim in the first place.
Well, you've originally created the claim and haven't disproved
No, I
my claim.
didn't. Your claim was that
Exactly.
people changed the dictionary for a specific purpose. You can't tell me what that purpose is. You can't tell me who these people were. You can't tell me if it was nefarious or not. You're just going, but what if it
Well,
was? But what
I
if it
would
was
say that
isn't an
if you went
argument.
around and you asked a massive collection of people whether or not that specific definition that they would agree with it, the majority of people would probably say they don't. So therefore, that definition
Do
should
you have
not
proof that the majority
be
of
the
people would disagree
definition
with
that
it?
it is.
Did you
Well,
do a did you do a did
there's
you do like
plenty
a
of
survey?
online journalists that have done that themselves.
Okay. Who? Which journalists? Can you show me that report?
Not offhand, no. I'm kind of
Oh,
busy.
okay. So a bunch have done it, but you don't know any of the reports, like specifically.
Well, I mean, I've seen them. I've watched
You've seen the
them here and
reports.
there. I mean, I don't go out of the way. I've also watched videos of independent journalists that tend to be, middle of the road, not like one-sided.
I don't know.
That's
Pew
kind of where
Research
I
says that
stand.
65% of Americans uh favor specifically like laws that protect trans people. So I mean, it doesn't seem like the
Well, that's
majority would be
different.
for
That's
this.
laws to protect people.
You
It's
think
not
that the
the.
people you think that people who would want to vote in laws that protect these people would also be like, yeah, but fuck those people?
I don't think I'm understanding your point.
You don't understand my point here? Okay.
No, I don't, because there's a difference between like the majority agreeing with a specific definition versus a majority of people who believe certain people shouldn't be treated differently because of who they feel they are. That'd be discrimination.
You think so?
Well, yeah. If you treat a transgender person poorly because they're transgender, that's discrimination. That's not right.
Do you think denying who trans people are is not treating them poorly?
Well, I guess you got a point there.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So would you agree that you treat
I,
trans people poorly?
hmm. Well, I guess I wouldn't say that because I've never actually treated a trans person poorly, and I wouldn't.
you you never openly treated them poorly, but you treat them poorly like in private, right? Because
Well,
you've
this
said
is
that you don't
actually the
believe
first time I've
trans.
ever
Well, wait,
conversed about it with anybody.
you've said you don't agree that they're women, right? You don't agree that trans women are women, but you've also said that like denying a trans person their identity of what they believe they are would be treating them poorly. So at least you've treated them poorly once, which is at the start of this phone call.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Okay. Do you think like that's a negative that you like treated trans people poorly at the start of this phone call?
Yes, I do.
Okay. There are a bunch of trans people listening. Do you want to offer them an apology?
Hmm. I would, but I don't
Okay.
know. I mean, hmm. Because you're technically not wrong. Yeah, I mean, I would. Because you're right.
All right. Floor is yours. Feel free to offer them up an apology if you want. They're listening.
Yeah. Well, anybody listening? If that at all offended you, I apologize. And
Well, hold on.
I guess
If
going
that all
forward,
if that all offends you, is just you passing the buck on to the way that they feel. But you've agreed that
yeah,
the
no,
actions that you
I was
did.
gonna continue with the
Okay.
apology. That wasn't it.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'd also like to say that going forward, that I'm gonna change the way I thought about that because this gentleman here definitely made some great points that kind of pointed out faults in my belief, and in total, I would like to apologize. I guess I didn't really realize the the negative stance that took towards people.
All right. Cool. How do you feel now?
Uh, like maybe that wasn't enough because I don't like to be that kind of person.
Do you
But
think
now you got me thinking.
do you think one of the ways that might, because if you think it's not enough, that's totally fine. Do you think one of the ways that might make it enough is if you take some time to like research what it means to be trans, how trans people like what they experience, things like that?
Yeah, I suppose it would. I guess it's kind of hard to relate because I can't really put myself in their shoes.
Yeah. Listen, I can't either. I'm not trans. I don't know what they experience, but I do know that like denying their experience or denying their gender just because like we may disagree, not the royal we, because there may be people that disagree with it, is hurtful and harmful to them, right? So like one of the things that we can do as people who are not trans is just take the time to listen to them and understand what they've been through, what they're going through, and how they're consistently fighting just to like live, right? There, just so
Hmm.
you know, in 2025 alone, so it's 5 months, there have been over 500 bills either passed or attempted to be passed that would harm transgender individuals in this country. 500. So they have an
Yeah,
uphill battle. So it the best thing to do would be to just like educate yourself on their experience. Listen to what some trans people have gone through, you know?
sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
All right. Was there anything else?
Well, I guess if you're on later, I'll probably try to call back in. I'm kind of at work right now and starting to pick back up. So,
All right. No problem. There are
yeah,
trans
thanks for
people in the
talking.
chat who are proud of you for taking the first steps to change. So I hope you know that.
Oh, sick. That makes me feel a little bit better.
All right. Well, James, you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. And everybody, you too.
Bye bye. Now that is what I would call active listening. That might be the first time in a debate that I feel like the person talking to me actively listened to the shit that I was saying.